Welcome to Saturday Movie Night, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dave McRae. How the heck are you guys doing? It is Saturday, September the 28th, 2019. What is shaking? Let me see how you guys are doing. Let's see who is here. Do I sound okay? Everything sounds good? Want to make sure everything sounds good. Tabitha is in the house. Andrew Solid Stevens is in the house. Tommy Ricknell, Chris Manley, David is here. Frank Riker is here. And that's good. That's good. Good to see you guys. I know I haven't been uploading to my channel over the last week or so. I've been very busy. So I do have some stuff in the pipe that is coming, but things have been a bit busy lately for me. So that is why I've been kind of very far and few between on the channel. But nonetheless, this is Saturday Movie Night. Welcome to my patrons who are, or level 2 and 3 patrons who are in the chat room for this Saturday Movie Night. And for those of you that are tuning in after the live feed, what this is a Saturday movie night is a level 2 and 3 Patreon only show or event in terms of the live feed. So once a month, I let level 3 patrons vote on the movie they want me to watch, and then I pick a Saturday out of the month to watch it and give live commentary on it, and it's open to level 2 and 3 in terms of the live feed. But once the live feed is done, it goes up on my channel for everybody to watch. So if that's something that you think you might be interested in being a part of, or being, having a chance to vote on, or whatever the case is, you can check out my Patreon page. The link is in the description. Nonetheless, today I am going to be watching Halloween Resurrection. Yes, I knew this was going to be the movie that all you sumbitches wanted me to watch. But I thought, you know what? Let's get it out of the way. I watched Halloween 5. I watched, what other horrible one have I watched? Maybe it was just that one. I don't think I've watched H2O yet. I know some people, like H2O, but I'm like, H2O has got to be on there at some point. So anyway, this is undoubtedly one of the granddaddies in terms of horrible Halloween movies. And I threw it on the list with other respectable horror movies. I knew this was going to win, and you guys didn't let me down. So, yes, we are going to watch Halloween Resurrection. I'm going to give live commentary. If you have the movie, feel free to watch along with me, whether it's on VHS, whether it's DVD, whether it's Blu-ray, whatever it is, watch along with me. And, yeah, so this should be fun. Okay, I will let you guys know where I am in terms of the movie. So let me start the movie here. The first thing that is going to come on the screen... Just make sure we're okay here. I'm about to hit play. So is everybody ready? Chris Manley, The Big Ape, Tommy Ricknell, Tabitha Short, Frank Riker. Oh, I voted for it, but now you regret it, don't you, Frank? Okay, here we go. Hitting play right now. All right, and coming on the screen is Dimension Films. That is what's on the screen right now. Dimension Films. And then we see a Dimension Films release. And then Mustafa Akkad Presents. That's what's on the screen right now. A Nightfall production of, so you guys can line it up. A Rick Rosenthal film. I met Rick Rosenthal, by the way, at the Halloween 40th anniversary convention last year. Really nice man. Really, really nice guy. Here we go. Halloween Resurrection. What's the chat room saying here? Blu-ray here. Oh, you're watching on Blu-ray. I just popped in an old DVD. All right. No, I can't do it yet. I gotta wait until the time. The time has to be right. And Jamie Lee Curtis, should just say, and Jamie Lee Curtis, because she was contractually obligated for one more movie, and she just wanted a paycheck. It actually says that. Can you imagine? That'd be funny. Visual effects supervisor, Jamson, oh, I missed the name. Music supervisor, Jen Miller. Halloween theme by John Carpenter. Ching!
It's a great thing. I just extend my hand and a check just falls into my hand. It's amazing.
What do we got? Chris Manley, 1994, says, I will admit, I love the rendition of the Halloween theme in this one. That's all I like about it. Yeah, it's fine, I guess. I haven't really paid too much attention to it. Andrew Solid Steven says, finally, Dave's commentary in action. Well, I do have a video on my channel where I talk about it. Oh, yes, this is... Jamie, oh, this is so bad. I will say, though, well, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So I'm at the point now, of course, where we have Laurie Strode's voiceover, the camera on a steady cam going down the hallway towards her room. There's an old guy to the right there. Santa Claus. It's fucking Santa Claus. Santa Claus is in there. What the hell is he doing in there? Ho, 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 you fucker. Can you imagine? He turns to the camera and he says that. Screenplay by Larry Brand and... Oh, I missed it. Well, Larry, you should be ashamed of yourself. There's Raggedy Ann, of course, harkening back to the original 1978 film. Frank Riker says, an embarrassed crew presents. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Jamie Lee Curtis here with her wig. I like that. I buy it. I believe that that is her hair. Totally. Like everything, like I saw this movie in the theater back in 2002 when it came out, and everything up to this point, I was like, all right, I'm on board. Okay. Until you find out how Michael Myers survived. Or, you know, how he, well, and here it comes. They didn't say about Laurie Strode. I'll tell you about her. I love it. Oh, I better turn that down. I don't want to get dinged. Don't want to get dinged from the copyright. The copyright demons. Ooh, that was a little loud, wasn't it? Oh my God. This is so lame. I mean, we are led to believe that Michael Myers stripped buck naked in the corner and took the paramedic suit off the guy. He takes it off the guy. He's there in the corner. Nobody sees this. Look at this. He's there in the corner taking it off, gets him buck naked, gets buck naked himself, puts it on. You know? It's so ridiculous. But keeps the knife. It's unbelievable. Chris Manley, 1994, says, Laurie looks absolutely exhausted in this film. I guess that's the ardent... yeah. Steve Down Under says, I always thought it was good to see Laurie in the asylum this time. Yeah, I mean... I don't know. This is so bad. He just walks off into the forest. Yeah, he just walks off into the forest. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. The movie and the story didn't do a good enough job getting me to believe that the probability of this was not only... Let me rephrase that. The movie didn't do a good enough job to get me to believe in what they were selling. I didn't believe that Michael Myers would do that. I didn't believe that nobody would see him do that. I didn't believe that the paramedic wouldn't at some point take off the mask and go, it's me. Even though he couldn't speak, you think he would have taken off the mask. Why did he go through the entire rigmarole by waking up in the back of the van and going through, and then on the road, and then the whole, like, I don't believe it. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And anybody who thinks that that was planned from the very beginning, it wasn't planned. And look it up. Look up your, familiarize yourself with your H2O resurrection history, and you'll find out that it was not pre-planned. It was not pre-planned. It wasn't. And, yeah. And all of a sudden, he's got a mask on and he's standing outside in this brightly lit spotlight on him. Anyway, I think it's a laughable justification for why he's still alive. Oh, that's what it was. It's the paramedic guy. You know, I mean, at that point, you know, yeah, it just was, it was awful. Absolutely awful. Steve Down Under says we should imagine that H2O Michael was an impersonator for the whole movie, like Friday Part 5. This would make better sense. I respectfully disagree. I mean, I know what you're saying, but I wouldn't want to do that as a fan either. I mean, that's just lame. I don't want to do that. You know, the whole idea that Michael Myers has been like, I don't know. It's just when you watch H2O, that is Michael Myers having his head chopped off. That was the intent. And then the movie was so successful, and they needed a way out. So they conjured up this ridiculous, which is really all you could do, this ridiculous idea that he strips buck naked and changes outfits with the paramedic. It's too... What I don't like about it as well, and I mentioned this in a video, I don't like knowing or seeing his process. I don't like knowing how he does something or seeing how he does something. Because it humanizes him. It's the same thing I didn't like about, well, there's a lot of things, but I mean, in Halloween 5, seeing him crawling out of the thing into the river and floating down the river and stumbling like a drunk to the hermit's house. I don't like seeing that. It's humanizing him, you know, and it's the same with this. It's just, I don't want to, I mean, I understand they have to justify it somehow, but I would much rather have them explained it through some sort of exposition that still keeps a bit of mystery there, and maybe they give you tidbits of information on how it could or may have been done, but they don't full out explain it to you and show it, you know. It probably would have been less ridiculous for me, but to have this exposition and in addition to showing a flashback and it just feels too shoehorned in. It feels comical to me. Anyway, I'm at the scene now where one of the security guards is in the basement, or is he in the basement? I don't know where he is. He just took a candy out of the vending machine. He hears something. This is silly too. Michael right now is hanging in the rafters, like he's hanging up there, getting ready to come down. You know, it's like it's just comical to me. It's weird. Like I know he did that in H2O, but he never did that in the past. The Big Ape says it's amazing how much of this movie was reshot. Did they reshoot a lot of it? I didn't know that. Well, that's too bad. They didn't do a good enough job. This is kind of cool. Cool effect. Like this thing here, him coming, like, look at this. He's just kind of like, what is he doing? Why is he up there to begin with? Well, he couldn't just be in the corner behind a garbage can. What is he doing, like chin-ups? And then somebody, you know, comes in. And he's like, oh, fuck. And he just hides up there and then he kind of slow. Like, it's silly to me. It's silly. I know it's in line with what he did in H2O, but I thought it was fucking dumb in H2O, too. That's a cool shot, though. I like that shot of his silhouette against the wall. That's nice. It's nice. Yep, it's a nice shot. What do we got here? Just going back. You guys are... Let's see here. Steve Down Under says they never explained how Michael came back in H2O. No, they didn't. I thought it was dumb there, too. They didn't explain how he could see. Because H2O was a direct sequel to Halloween 2. So you have to... And you would think, well, are you going to tell us how you see? And the reason why they don't is because they can't justify it without going all supernatural, right? You see, Michael is supposed to be that in-between, you know? Anyways, hang on a sec. I'll get back to my thought here in a second. I love how he comes through the door here. And he's coming through the door and, you know, he's looking around. Is this the point where he had the afro? I think there's some point where he's got an afro on his mask. Yeah, it kind of does there. I will say this, though. The Halloween Resurrection mask, I don't particularly like it. But if I am comparing it, yeah, look, I guess maybe he's got an afro because of the light. I never thought of that. But then maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But then when he goes out onto the roof, suddenly his hair is slicked back. It's like he took a moment before he got onto the roof and was like, hang on. And, he slicked back his hair and he's like, okay, I'm ready to go. Yeah, he's got this afro now. Maybe because of the electricity from the light. But no, what was I saying? H2O, yeah. Yeah, see, now his hair is perfectly fine. Yeah, in H2O, they didn't explain it either. There was this one throwaway line where I think it was the black cop, he's walking down the hall and he's like, they never found his body. Right? It's like, oh, they never found his body. Well, yeah, but they never explained why he wasn't burned, where he's been for, 20 years, how he can see all of a sudden. They didn't, because they didn't want to tackle it, because they could not come up with something that would be believable enough in the world of Michael Myers, because Michael Myers isn't Jason, he's not Freddie, he's not full-on supernatural. So there has to be some sort of believability, some sort of verisimilitude within Michael's character that you can buy into. You can't go too far or it gets ridiculous, where kind of like where they inevitably sort of went anyway with like part 5 and 6 and cults and shit. It was like, but even still it never got fully Jason or Freddie. But so they just didn't say anything. It's like, well, we just won't acknowledge it. It'll just be weird. It'll be a mystery. It'll be avant-garde. It's like, okay, all right. No, it's dumb. It's dumb. And here he is here, perfectly fine, hanging upside down. Laurie Strode, because I'm not afraid of you. Are you afraid to die, Michael? Yeah, are you afraid? Are you fucking afraid, Michael? Are you afraid to die, Miguel? Huh, Miguel? This is awful. This is so awful. I mean, she's just phoning. But to be fair, even though she's essentially phoning it in, she's doing a good job phoning it in. She doesn't care about this. Yeah, it's not Michael Myers. It's so dumb. What do we got here? Tabitha Short says, this is dumb how he just gives his knife to the clown masked person. Oh, I know. That's ridiculous. Yeah, that too. Yep, 100%. Yeah, that's coming up in a second. Why would he do, again, too human, the interaction. Like, it was like, oh, you're like me. You're in here. You're dressed as a clown. There's a connection there. You're a little bit, woohoo. It's like, oh, like, we're like bros. We're part of the same fraternity. Here's my knife, man. Yeah, here's my knife. It's like, fuck off with that. No. This is awful. Why can't she just say, I'll see you in hell, and just fall to her death? Why does she have to kiss her brother on the lips? What is this, The Empire Strikes Back? But then you can justify the Luke and Leia kiss, even though it's, they didn't know they were related. It's not their fault. Anyway, there she goes, falling to her death through the branches of trees right onto the ground. Yeah, and Michael's just hanging there like it's nothing. He likes to hang. He's like a monkey or something. He likes hanging around. And that's it. Like, think about this. That is the death of one of the most iconic final girls, horror protagonists in motion picture history. That's it. That's the way she goes out. No, I thought it was dumb when I was watching this in the theater. And look at the way he spins it around. It's just so, it's terrible. And the guy's like, whoa, dude, Michael Myers. And he starts reciting all the kills or the, yeah, because this guy has an obsession with serial killers, somehow Michael feels like a fraternity type connection to this guy. Like, you're my bro, man. Here's my knife, I'm surprised he didn't fucking pull out a Sharpie and sign it for him. Why not? Like, at this point, why not? Why not Michael just pull out a Sharpie and sign the knife for him? I'll be honest with you, I would have been like, yeah, all right. Why not? At this point, you're giving him his knife. Just pull out a Sharpie and sign it. Tommy Ricknell says, whoever thought that JLC would come back to the franchise after this? Yeah, you know what? I always knew if the script was right, especially when actors get older and they enter their twilight years in terms of their careers, they're not doing too much anymore. They're not as in demand anymore. And they tend to, I don't know, fall back and sort of onto some nostalgia and nostalgic roles. And that professor there, for those of you that don't know, most of you probably already do, that is Rick Rosenthal. That is the director of Halloween Resurrection and, of course, Halloween 2. How Rick Rosenthal directed Halloween 2 and then Halloween Resurrection is beyond me. I love the guy. He was a very nice man. But my God, there's our two ends of the spectrum right there. I always found it weird as well that Haddonfield had a university. I always pictured Haddonfield as a small town. Now, not a small town of 1,000 people, but not necessarily the size that you would consider or that you would justify having a university this size in it. Now, maybe the town has grown over the last 25 years or whatever, but I always found it kind of strange that there was a university. High school, sure, of course. But university? Like this big of a university? I mean, I went to college in Welland, Ontario, which is, but that's a town of about 50,000 people. I didn't quite picture Haddonfield that big. I always thought Haddonfield was sort of like maybe 20,000 people, something like that. Like not huge, not city size, not even small city size, but not like village either. You know what I mean? Anyway. But sometimes there are colleges and universities in interesting locations. So who knows? But I just thought it was kind of weird. I'm at the point now where I guess I forget these girls' names now. That's how much I don't give a shit about this movie. I forget their names. Anyway, the guy's cooking and the blonde and the brunette are talking to him. Chris Manley 94 says, I do like the little callback to H2 with this tutor being called Dr. Mixter. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but who cares? I get what you're saying, though. Tommy Ricknell, oh, yeah, I already read that. Andrew Solid Steven says, I guess my Xbox don't want to watch this crap. It keeps freezing on me. I'm telling you, that's what it is. Yes, I'm telling you. The Xbox has been like, Halloween Resurrection? I don't think so. This movie, like I said, largely doesn't work for me because the gimmick and are there certain aspects about this movie that I like a bit better than Resurrection? Yeah, than H2O? Sure. But as a whole, it's a gigantic shit show. And aside from it being a poor film for obvious reasons, it feels too gimmicky to me. This is the first Halloween movie in the franchise where there is literally no connection outside of the first 10 minutes of the movie with Laurie Strode to the past. So they are genuinely trying to move on. There's no Dr. Loomis, there's no Laurie Strode, there's no Jamie Lloyd, there's no connection to that family, there's no connection to the Loomis family. This is 100% completely fresh and new. There is no connection. So that in and of itself is okay. That's interesting. The problem is I don't think the filmmakers believed enough in their characters or creating an interesting dynamic in terms of the characters. They fell back on shticky pop culture-y things that were current and hot at that time in 2002. In 2002, one of the biggest TV shows was Survivor. And so, you've got a lot of references to Survivor. And of course, the internet was relatively in its infancy in terms of being a household commodity, let's say, or a household sort of staple. So people were really into online chatting and webcams and hooking up little webcams and things like that. And it's a very, you watch it now, and especially if you're not for me necessarily, because I was 23 when the movie came out, so I was still old enough to remember to see sort of things change. But if you were born in 1998, you don't even remember necessarily having computers that looked like that. I do, But you might look at that computer and think to yourself, my God, that looks like what I would look at a television from the 50s like. So but that's a problem that when you start, and this here, look at the background with this girl riding on her bike. Look at the background. Look at the skyscrapers in the background. It's Los Angeles. She's not in Haddonfield. That's not Haddonfield. Did you see that? Always bothered me when the girl was riding on her little moped or whatever it is, and the background, I'm positive that's downtown LA. Or if it's not downtown LA, it's a bustling metropolis. Like you can see the lights glowing in the sea. It's like, this isn't Haddonfield. Haddonfield's not a city. Haddonfield's a Midwestern town that doesn't look anything like a Midwestern town. Anyway, the shtick, I'm at the point now where they're all in the classroom. Here's Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks introducing the whole dangertainment thing. So I never, you got Lenny Kravitz wannabe in the back there. I knew that the shtick and the gimmick of this movie is dated. It has a shelf life. So when you watch it now, it seemed, and especially if you watch it another 10 years from now, it feels a little sort of shticky. So I didn't buy into that. Even then, I thought it was lame, because the selling point is not really anything that's happening between the characters. It's just placing these one-dimensional or 1.5 dimensional characters in this kind of a situation, and Michael will come and kill them. Okay, but there's nothing there. There's nothing there at all. It's a boring film, really, at the end of the day. Let's see here. We got the Big Ape says, did you see that they are currently filming a flashback to 1970 for Halloween Kills? I saw the photos. To be fair, I don't believe it has been confirmed that it is a flashback. I believe that is just speculation because people look at a grainy photo and the mask looks white. So they just are, it must be a flashback. I just haven't had the time to do a video on it yet. But I think unless it has been, light was knocked over. I'm sure you guys are at the same part. He's so dramatic. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. What was I saying? Unless it is confirmed through, which I don't think they would confirm it, but through an inside source that is at the set or saying they unless there's some rumblings, maybe it hasn't been confirmed, but there's some sort of some good insight from a source. I would not promote this as a flashback. I would say that that's an idea, but I certainly wouldn't run an article that it is a flashback because we don't know if it is. So Busta Rhymes is standing at his hotel door here after watching Kung Fu films, talking to the girl. Is her name Sarah? Is it Sarah? Maybe it's Sarah. I don't know. Tabitha Short says, so what city was the asylum in that JLC was in? I don't know. Was that Smith's Grove or not? Maybe it wasn't. But this whole thing here, I don't think is... isn't this supposed to be Haddon? Yeah, it is because she was at Haddonfield University. So when she's riding her moped up, I'm assuming she's still in town, right? And when you look behind her, I've been to LA many times. That looks like Los Angeles. And even the street that she's riding up with the hill and it looks like LA. Anybody who lives in LA, who's been to LA, that's what LA looks like. Frank Riker says, Dear Dave, Haddonfield made money on their visit the Myers House tour. Oh, that's what it is. So they built up a metropolis. Thank you, Frank. Can always count on Frank. Steve Down Under says, I can see how the indiscrepancy of filming locations would bother a local Canadian and American. However, such differences never really bothered me as an Aussie. Well, it bothers me as not just, I don't think you have to be Canadian or American. It really comes down to continuity. Right? It comes down to, it making sense. There are rules that you establish within the framework of a narrative. And if you establish that Haddonfield is a Midwestern town and you suddenly have a movie where Haddonfield is this metropolis and there's no justification for it, that's not good. You don't, that bothers me as an artist. It bothers me as a film fan, not as a Canadian or as an American. It doesn't make any sense. It would be like, imagine if the Death Star in Star Wars was I'm trying to think here. That's a bad example. Let's say it's the same reasons that having the Myers house in part 5 looking the way it did is incompetence. It's dumb. It should not look like that, right? That doesn't line up. That's why the Myers house in Halloween 6, even though it doesn't really look like the Myers house, at least you can look at it and go, okay, all right, I believe that, right? Because it aligns more with continuity. That's what it is for me. It's all about honoring the story and the foundation of that story and those rules that you've set for yourself. If you want Haddonfield to now be a metropolis, then you justify that in the movie. You show us wide shots. You have a moment where, we're able to get behind the fact that now it has grown and all that kind of stuff. But they don't allude to that at all. So that's what it is for me. It's all about continuity. Tabitha Short says, all I see when looking at this Deckard guy is an elf when he played in Luck of the elf when he played Luck of the... Oh, I've never seen that. Okay, cool. I've never seen this guy. I don't know if I've ever seen him since. Andrew Solid Steven says, I just looked up where this was shot, and it says Vancouver and British Columbia stood in for Haddonfield University. Not sure how much info is reliable. Well, yeah, okay. Well, having been to Vancouver as well, totally buy that. Yep, there are that could totally be Vancouver. Yep, and Vancouver is a bustling metropolis. So yes, I do know that the soundstage where they shot the Myers house, because they built the front of the Myers house and then the inside of the Myers house was all on a sound stage. That was shot. I know that was in Vancouver. But if the entire movie was shot in Vancouver, then I stand to be corrected. Then those hills that you see and she's riding up and you see in the background, then maybe that's downtown Vancouver, which makes sense. And Vancouver is a city of over 1 million people. I mean, when you factor in the Vancouver core and, the Vancouver area, I mean, it's not Haddonfield. It's not Haddonfield. Anyway, I'm at the part now where they're just, Dangertainment is setting up in the house. Tyra Banks is, we got that, well, now she's dancing to herself. Tommy Ricknell says, oh, he's talking to Frank. The Big Ape says it states in the end credits. Yep, probably does. Yep. So yeah, that makes sense. Vancouver. I mean, Vancouver in LA, although they have different climates, they have similar climates. Not exactly the same, mind you, but similar looks, What is this? Jaws 3D? The way Myers is holding that tripod is like it's a 3D film or something like that. Like, there's nothing suspenseful about this. I'm not, oh shit, I don't feel anything here. Is it just me? I'm not feeling anything here. Like that's what horror movies generally become. And it's inevitable that the more sequels you make, you've heard me say it ad nauseum, the more sequels you make, inevitably you will run out of ideas and shit will wear thin and stuff. But it no longer becomes suspenseful. It's just becomes a movie about filler in between cool kills. So we have a cool kill. Myers kills a guy with a fucking tripod. Yeah! And we'll have it on webcam and we'll see it from his point of view with the tripod coming out. And then we'll see it from the guy's point of view on the, and it's okay, that's really cool. Myers kills a guy with a tripod through the neck. Yeah! So what happens after that? Well, I don't know, it's just, they walk around and they do kind of stuff and shit. And then we'll have this other cool kill where we have, and that's basically what horror movies eventually become in any series. Not feeling it. That's a great... Now, that street there that Busta Rhymes is getting out on, and you see the Dangertainment there and whatnot, that totally looks like a small town. Looks like Haddonfield. Now, I don't know if this... There could be, because the house... You can see Michael in the window. he's like, yoo-hoo! That's so funny. That's so funny. Chris Manley, 1994, says, it always annoyed me how they definitely got the look of the Myers house right on the outside, but the inside just looks off to me. Maybe it's just me. Well, I think the inside actually does look very similar to the Myers house, but it's built a bit bigger. And you have to do that. Well, you don't have to do that, but it's always easier when you are factoring in dolly tracks, when you are factoring in lights, and I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, yeah, but in the real Myers house, they had to factor in all that. That's true. But they also didn't have the money to build a sound or to build a house on a soundstage. So they kind of had to go with what they had. But anytime you have the money and you can actually recreate something, you can create it and build it to fit lights and to fit dolly track and to fit certain, crew and gear and shit like that. So it just makes the process that much easier. So the house, I don't know if the house is exactly in line, but the front entrance there in terms of where the stairs are and where the living room is and such, I think it is pretty on point. But it would have been built bigger for sure. Yeah, 100%. Steve Down Under says the kills are very Friday the 13th, using a multitude of weapons rather than the iconic kitchen knife. Yeah, and that's what happens. Listen, I get it. I don't want to be that grumpy old guy that just yells to people to, get off his lawn. I get it. Not every movie can be like this. You gotta progress. You gotta advance. I get it. But the essence of even what the character was is gone. That's the unfortunate thing, is that they tend to lose what the essence of the character is. And I think that's one of the reasons why, although most of the Friday the 13th films are garbage, in my opinion, they were quite consistent in terms of their presentation of Jason. Yes, he evolved, and certainly there's a difference between full-on zombie Jason after Friday the 13th 6 and sort of we don't know what he is in terms of the first four. But in terms of his presentation through most of the films, it was pretty consistent. Freddie changed a lot. Michael changed a lot. And the feel of the movies changed a lot. See that line there, which is like, you're this close to getting voted off the island. Somebody watching that now would be like, the fuck is she even talking about? If you were born in 2000 and you're 19 years old now, you'd watch this and be like, you might know through pop culture, but there's a good chance you'd be like, well, what does she mean by you're this close to getting voted off the island? I don't get it. Well, that's a reference to Survivor, which was a huge show at this time. The whole idea, and the internet and webcams, everybody was chatting on webcams. Do you guys, for those of you that are old enough, do you remember that? When you chat, on webcams through MSN Messenger and all that it was a big deal. This was like the whole technology was a big deal. It was cool, right? Now nobody's fucking doing this anymore. So the shtick is even boring now. It's like, I don't really care. I will say that the visual color palette, the visual aesthetic in Halloween Resurrection is better than Halloween H2O. Now, that's not saying much because the bar is so low. But I'm saying the look of the movie is better. It almost looks like Halloween 5 in some ways. And Halloween 5 looks dreadful. But I just mean in terms of there's some... It looks like a... when I say Halloween 5, I mean that I'm just talking about sort of the color palette. Yeah. In certain shots. Even 4 too during the day, I guess, a little bit. But in certain shots. But not all the time. Jim Dorsey says, damn, I didn't realize how 2002, this was when I saw it in 2002. This has aged terribly. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looks fine. It looks like the production value is fine, but it's the story that I just never got behind. And I think what would have been better is, I think and I think there was something like this, if I'm not mistaken. It was something like this. There was, I believe, another story idea that they wanted to go with for Halloween Resurrection, I think. Anyway, I think they should have, and maybe my idea is coming from my subconscious because I heard about this, but I think they should have had one main protagonist who was maybe fascinated with the story and with the legend of Michael Myers. And Jamie Lee Curtis was found killed. Nobody knows what happened to her. They think she committed suicide by leaping to her death or something to that effect. And she wants to figure something out. So she goes to Haddonfield to try and figure it out and uncover, because maybe it's not believed that she was killed. Something like that, like we follow her along so we can get a little more emotionally attached to this new girl. And I'm not saying that she has a connection to the Strodes or to the Myers. I'm not saying that. But one person that we can sort of follow along with, and kind of, maybe she's in university and she's curious and, I don't know, just something. She's curious about the legend, of the whole thing. Sort of like what the podcasters were doing a bit in Halloween 2018, but it's not for a podcast, but this is just yeah. And this side thing with this guy and the talking to, he goes to a party, but he wants to talk to this girl, and it's just so lame. Like, these night shots look fine. Looks night, looks cool, crisp, looks like autumn. I mean, I get that. I'm not totally like autumn, but I can feel a little bit. Yeah, I can feel it a little bit. Now, here they are on the set, going up to the Myers house. This is what they should have done with Halloween 5. Just built the Myers house. But see, like, these kids run up and put a pumpkin on the porch of the Myers house. So clearly, it's legendary now, right? I mean, they're inside, of course. Dangertainment is happening. But get rid of the Dangertainment angle. Get rid of the webcam thing. Just have it as a girl that goes to Haddonfield to learn more about the history of Myers, because Laurie was found killed, and she doesn't believe that she committed suicide. She believes she was murdered by Michael Myers, that she finally met her death or something. And I don't know. They just go on from there or something like that. You build a new antagonist. A new protagonist. You allow us to become emotionally attached to this new girl, and it won't be easy, but I think that's the better way to go. This just feels like some stupid teen horror movie. So I'm at the point now, of course, where I forgot these characters' names. Walking up the stairs. Yeah. Steve Down Under says, why does the house still have furniture and glassware in it? Abandoned homes always got looted and vanished. Well, and vandalized. Well, actually, I think that's part of the Dangertainment, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that was part of I think that they even mentioned that in the movie, or somebody says something about why is the shit all here? Whatever. Yeah, because they take knives out of the drawer and things like that. I think it's all part of the Dangertainment. They've dressed this house up to look old and abandoned, and with all the furniture there and all that kind of stuff. I believe that's part of Dangertainment's. It's part of what they did to sort of spice it up for this broadcast, if I'm not mistaken. Andrew Solid Steven says, probably spent more money on the cast than the actual film itself. Probably not, I would say. There's not too many, other than Curtis, there's not too many people in here that would have demanded an extraordinarily high salary. But I know what you're saying, though. Let's see here. Yes, Steve Down Under, you're right. The floor plans, yeah, but the house is a little bit bigger. Yep. Yeah. Tabitha Short says, so Dave, if this movie was shot in Canada, I don't hear you proudly recognize this film as a Canadian movie. Oh, well, that's because in order for a movie to be, it usually is the main source of the financing. So a studio can shoot up here. Hollywood films are shot up here all the time. I mean, It Chapter 1 and 2 was shot about an hour east from here in a little town called Port Hope. So Port Hope, Ontario, Canada is actually your Derry, Maine. But it's for a movie to be Canadian or, British or Australian or American or, whatever the case is, it's usually where the bulk of the financing comes from. So studios can join together. You can have a Canadian, like a film can be a Canadian/American film. But if 90% of the budget is being, produced, no pun intended, from an American company, then it's largely seen as an American film. But Black Christmas, for example, was solely produced in Canada. The financing was financed here. Same with Summer of '84 and oh God, there's a laundry list of them. But yeah, so that's generally how they figure that out. So no, Halloween Resurrection is not a Canadian movie. No more so than It or It 2 or Shape of Water or wow. There's a lot of movies they shoot up here in Vancouver and Toronto. That's why they call Toronto Hollywood North. See, I didn't like dealing with see, that's another thing I didn't really like about, although you did, you did, I don't know, it just didn't seem as annoying. The teen angst, like you got that in the original Halloween with Laurie and Ben Tramer and Annie and Paul. And, there were moments of that, sure, because they had to, and of course, Bob. But I mean, I don't know. It just seems like there was a lot of that in H2O, or maybe it's just I don't know. Just didn't buy into it, I guess.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Jen? I've often said that this movie, and I find that this happens a lot with horror films. Halloween Resurrection. Remove Michael Myers from the equation. There's no Michael Myers, okay? Maybe it's still Halloween time. Maybe you still have Dangertainment. But you get Michael Myers out of the equation, and it's just about a killer that is secretly in the house or something. It might, again, it's another example of it might not be a bad little film. But when you start to put Michael Myers into it, it's because Myers, again, he has a very specific identity, right? He has a very specific way about him. And I didn't buy into the evolution of that identity or the abandonment of that identity. And now it's hard for me to watch this. It just feels like I'm watching just a teeny bopper horror movie that strays so far away from what Halloween is. It doesn't feel like Halloween. There's no suspense. There's no mood. There's no atmosphere. There's nothing. I'm just watching Tyra Banks and Busta Rhymes sharing a glass of wine and the kid from American Pie. And there's some cool kills like Michael Myers coming through the mirror here in a second, I believe, to kill the guy. And that's cool. Yep, there we go. Cool stuff. That's cool. But that could be anybody. Replace him with just a regular serial killer. Right? There's nothing, right? Could totally do it. It would be just as effective, just as cool, and just as, well, that's kind of cool. Oh, wow. You don't need Michael Myers to make that effective. And that's what's unfortunate, Like, that's why you can watch some movies where you can tell that they've been inspired by that original Michael Myers character. And you can be like, oh, that was totally like Michael Myers. Right? But you don't get that with these movies. Oh, that's totally, no, it could be anybody. That could be me smashing through the window, right? There's nothing necessarily Michael Myers about it. It could be anybody. It could be anybody, anything, any killer at any time. Real, not human. It doesn't matter. And that's what's missing. Basically, that is what's missing from a lot of these sequels. Anyway. Steve Down Under says, I agree, Dave, and this is why I think H2O and Resurrection Michael is an imposter. No, I don't. I think you're probably being facetious, but I just think that they're shitty movies. Tommy Ricknell at Frank Riker. Nowadays, everyone has hidden tunnels, including Rambo. That's right. Yeah, he's got hidden tunnels. Like, did he make this? Did Michael Myers make these tunnels? Did he do that? Was he digging all those years? Oh, that's what he was doing. Oh, okay. And he lives down there with a bed and shit, and it's just like, I don't like that shit. Let's see here. Steve Down Under says, if Myers is now legendary in Haddonfield, it makes sense that someone could pretend to be him at some point. Yes, I understand what you're saying, but just because you might have to justify that for yourself, that's not who... I mean, it was Michael Myers in that movie. It was. In Halloween H2O, it was Michael Myers. There has been nobody has ever come out, no official source has ever come out, no writer, director, producer has ever come out and said, no, it wasn't Michael Myers in that movie. They justified it by saying that Michael Myers switched outfits with the paramedic. That's what they said. So it was. It was Michael Myers through that entire movie, except for the last 10 minutes where his head was chopped off. No, that was the paramedic. That you can think the way you want to think, but that doesn't make it so. That doesn't make it fact, right? Not all, I mean, art, yeah, that's a whole other thing I could do about a video, but it's not abstract art, essentially, is what I'm saying. Like you can't interpret it how you see it. It's very clear what happened. I think it's a pile of dog shit, and it's hilarious and comical, but it's very clear what the artists are telling you is happening. So I'm at the point now where the Lenny Kravitz guy, I call him Lenny Kravitz guy, he's walking around with a lantern. I don't even know how to, okay, so I guess she's in the basement. The red-haired girl, she's in the basement, finds that little doll. It's like a Raggedy Ann kind of doll. Jim! Andrew follows up with, it's really sad that they had, you said, Andrew Solid. Steven says, it's really sad that they had a decent amount of money in sequels yet still get this garbage. Who seriously thought this through and said, yes, this is a Halloween movie? Well, that's why they said yes, because there's no integrity. It's just sheer incompetence. It's a business. That doesn't mean that, they necessarily want to make a bad movie, but it's, by and large, you have a lot of people who are it's about the bottom line. What was hip? What was current at that time? Survivor, webcams, internet, chatting online. Ooh, this is good. Well, they'll like this. The kiddies will like this. And that's why they did it. So they find this, yeah, I know, this thing that goes into the sewer. It's creepy. It's creepy. Ooh, they're going into the sewer, folks. Like, I still think that this would be better as just it's not the Myers house. It's not Michael Myers. It's just some creepy movie about this dangertainment thing. It might have ended up being up there with like Urban Legend or something, just some cool little movie that they had at the beginning of the 2000s, a little horror movie. Didn't do much. It's kind of cool. And they come to the basement and they find these chains and stuff. And it's like, wow, who is this killer? Right? It's some weird sadistic fucking killer. It could have been the beginning of a new slasher villain. I mean, it may have been the first movie that spawned a different slasher villain. I mean, that's entirely possible too. If they had just got rid of the if they had taken this premise and just made its own thing. Because there's nothing Halloween about this movie. It doesn't feel like Halloween, doesn't look like Halloween. I mean, you get Halloween moments, kids on the street, trick or treat, okay. But I mean, I'm talking, in the big picture, right? Now they're making out and they figure why not bang in the basement of a sewer. Or in the sewer, I should say. Tap of the Short says, did you know that the Lenny Kravitz dude is Neil Patrick Harris's brother? I did not. That's very cool. I didn't know that. Wow. Is he still acting? I wonder if he is. I mean, I know Neil Patrick Harris is, but I wonder if this guy is. Steve Down Under says, do some American houses really have scary basements like this, or is it just in the movies? Oh yeah, sure. There's a lot of scary basements in old houses, right? Not in new houses, but if you ever walk into like an abandoned house or an old house or something like that, yeah, there's a lot of scary basements. What is this? Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? Of course, that's all part of the Dangertainment thing. But anyway, Jim Dorsey says, Jamie Lee completely rips this movie a new one nowadays, and it's great. Yeah, she rips H2O. Yes. Yep. Yeah, she rips H2O as well. This movie was just boring to me. And there's a lot of garbage things about it. I have a whole video. Like, if you want to see me ripping into Halloween Resurrection, there's a video on my channel where I do that. Just type in Dave McRae Halloween Resurrection or something, and you'll get it's like the epic Halloween Resurrection rant or something like that. It's hard to rip into it here with any sort of consistent momentum because obviously I'm doing live commentary and talking to you guys, so I don't want to get sidetracked too much. I think this is Busta Rhymes that has come in now, right? And this is so dumb too. This is like Busta Rhymes yelling at Michael Myers, reprimanding Michael Myers like he's a little child, and Michael taking it and walking out. Are you kidding me? Yeah, and Busta Rhymes just so happens to have the exact same Michael Myers mask. Exact same. This is so stupid. This is so dumb. Why would Michael Myers be walking that slowly behind Busta Rhymes? Like they're in like a little parade together or something. I didn't tell you to play I'm Michael Myers, man, you fucker. Look how tight that mask is on Busta Rhymes' face. Look how much you can see his eyelids. It's like his eyelids are popping out of the eye. That mask must be so tight on his face. He's reprimanding him. And it just goes on and on, the scene. He's still going. What has it been, like a minute? Holy shit. And Michael turns around and leaves. He actually leaves. Now, here's the thing. This doesn't make any sense. Why would Michael do that? It doesn't... Now, I'm not saying that you couldn't justify it, but just because you could, or maybe you try to, doesn't mean I would agree with it, but there's no justification for it. So why does he leave? What, is he scared? Is he scared of Busta Rhymes? Is he just like, I don't want to deal with your shit? Is it like, why is he... What makes sense to me, even though I would never have a scene like that at all, if I had to have one, what would make sense to me is that after he's yelling, Michael just takes a knife and stabs him in the stomach, right? Lifts him up in the air and maybe throws him, into the wall or something to that effect. Or maybe he stabs him in mid-rant. So he's like, what the fuck you doing here? I'm Michael Myers. You're not I'm telling you. And then right in the, middle of a sentence, he just stabs him like that and lifts him up. He's like, oh, and blood's coming out of his mask and shit like that. Can you imagine that, huh? Bet you like that a lot better already, right? Yeah, like, why not do that? I mean, I think the whole fucking thing is dumb. But I'm just saying, if you're going to... Why is he leaving? I don't understand. He's following him. He gets reprimanded and then leaves. I don't understand the creative choice behind that, other than the director or the writer thought, oh, this would be funny. It's a ha-ha moment. It's a little bit of that tension broken. No, but it's not consistent with the character. It's not consistent with Michael's M.O. Michael wouldn't do that. Okay? So, anyway. Yeah, like, look at this doll here with the nails in its eyes. Imagine right now for a moment, you're just watching a movie about... You don't see Laurie on the wall there. You're just watching... And that always bothers me in films. Like, that picture of Laurie in the newspaper is clearly Laurie on the stoop waiting for Annie in Halloween 1978. Nobody was there to take her photograph for the newspaper. Nobody was there to take her photograph. Like, why can't you just find another photo of Laurie from, like, a behind-the-scenes photo from Halloween 1978 or something? That always bothers me when, in films, they'll use photographs that are clearly screen grabs from previous movies, like screenshots. And if you think about it in terms of the continuity, nobody was there to take a picture. That's a screen grab from the why is that as a picture in the newspaper? Did somebody... that doesn't make any sense continuity-wise. It's actually impossible unless Halloween existed as a movie in its own universe, which is really strange. That always bothered me. But anyway. And that's not exclusive to Halloween Resurrection. I see that a lot in a lot of movies, and it bothers me. So here we have Michael killing this red-haired girl in the sewer, and it's being captured on webcam, but nobody's watching, obviously, or Deckard, I think he is, right? Yeah, I think he is, because he's like, no, it's not fake, it's real, man, it's real. Michael turns around, leaves. But, do you feel anything there? Do you feel anything? Because I don't feel anything. When I watch that, I'm like, okay, I'm watching a cool kill, cool special effects, okay. But I don't feel anything. I couldn't care less if I ever saw that scene ever again for the rest of my life. I couldn't give two shits. I don't fucking care. I don't care. If somebody said to me, you will never see that kill scene again, I'll say, great, I don't fucking care. I really don't. The Big Ape says Michael walks out because he was just told where Nora was in the garage, because in the work print her death was after that, because in the... Well, yeah, I understand that, but within the timeline, why doesn't he kill Freddie? He can still go and kill Nora, but it doesn't make any sense for him to just leave. He has an opportunity to kill somebody, right? And he chooses not to because Freddie told him where Nora was. Well, is Michael Myers working with Freddie? Right? Are they working together? Was this a mutual agreement they had? Right? No, it's not. I mean, I understand that Tyra Banks' death was eliminated from the final cut, and I understand that that's a scene that's not there, and I understand that in terms of its order in sequence of events, that might be true, exactly what you're saying, but it still doesn't explain why Michael took the orders, why he actually agreed to it. That doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't, or at the very least, kill Freddie, stab him, throw whatever, and then go and kill Nora. No, but we need Freddie around for the end of the movie because he's going to save Sarah and he's going to drop kick it. Then you need to tell me why he's taking orders. And seeing this here, like seeing... It's me! It's me! It's me! The fuck you doing here? Let's see here. Tabitha Short says, I could be wrong. Oh, what were you saying, Tabitha? He was one of the characters in that 70s show. Oh, I don't think that's the same guy. I don't think it's the same guy. I could be wrong, though, too. Steve Down Under says, Michael kept the photo of Laurie from H4 when he was sifting through the photo pot. Same thing. No, but that's the same thing, right? In Halloween 4, he finds that photo. That's a photo of Laurie on the stoop waiting for Annie. It is physically impossible to have a photo like that. In the Halloween universe, it is physically impossible because that is a screenshot from the actual movie. So it's impossible to have that. It would be like Darth Vader finding a picture of himself cutting off Luke's hand. That's impossible. Was the Emperor there with a camera that we didn't know about? It's impossible. It's impossible. So I'm here, Freddie is explaining shit and the Dangertainment and shit, and people are upset and all that stuff. Let's see here. Steve Down Under follows up with, maybe Michael thinks Freddie is loony like the guy in the asylum, so he chose to save him. Maybe. But then that shows that Michael has empathy, right? It shows that Michael, the fact that Freddie tells him to do something and Michael does it, shows that he's consciously thinking about his choices, right? If he is the great white shark, if he is a force of nature, if he is a tornado like the wind or, whatever the case is, he would have killed Freddie. He wouldn't have taken orders. He wouldn't have been listening to Freddie. I mean, maybe he would have been listening to him, but he wouldn't have taken the orders and left, right? That shows a conscious choice that he made because he was influenced by verbal, verbal direction from a character. It's like, no. And if you are going to do that, which I don't agree with, but if you are going to do it, then you have to justify why he's taking orders from Freddie. Doesn't mean I'm going to agree with it, but you got to, why? No, it was played for laughs. That's what it was. It was comical. The Big Ape says a director said in an interview that people at the test screenings demanded more Busta Rhymes because they loved him. Well, I don't know if that's true. I'll take your word for it. The Big Ape. I did like this. This was cool. I didn't like it because, it's so Halloween. I just thought it was cool when the blonde chick gets her head sliced off and the head rolls down the steps. I thought that was cool. That's my favorite kill in the entire movie. It's my favorite kill in the entire movie. 100%. And then you see Michael coming down the steps, some nice blue lighting there. That's nice. They're like, oh shit, it's actually Michael Myers. He's coming down. Yeah, it's an all right shot. That's a cool shot right there of his face in the darkness. I like that. It's about where it stops. Don't like seeing his eyes. The fuck they have this thing with his eyes? You don't have to show his eyes. Sorry. You were saying that the director said that they wanted more Busta Rhymes. Well, if that is true, if it's true, that doesn't surprise me because Busta Rhymes was what? He was really big and popular in the late 90s, early 2000s. Another example of utilizing what was popular at that time, and you date yourself. I hate when Michael turns around there and you see his eyes and you can tell he's got black makeup on, under his eyes. I hate that shit. Hate that. We shouldn't be seeing his eyes ever at any point in time. We should never see Michael's eyes, ever. And there's no reason why we have to be seeing his eyes. You can light it and expose it, and in post you can absolutely tinker around with it where we don't see his eyes. Chris Manley says there's no way a butcher knife could do that. It'd take more than one swing of the knife. True. That is true as well. That's a fair point. Tabitha Short says, Dave, where do you rate the blue lighting they use in the well, again, to preface that, when I say blue lighting, it has to be justified, right? You don't just drape everything in blue. It has to be justified. Usually blue lighting is a pale blue. It's almost a whitish blue. And there's two ways that you can utilize that. You can justify it as moonlight, right? So moonlight is coming in through the windows, or you're outside on the street and you're being cast in this bluish, whitish, sort of cold kind of light, right? You see that all the time. Or there's the other justification is that it's just the natural ambient sort of nighttime kind of light. So it doesn't feel so concentrated per se. It's just sort of a blanket of this whitish, bluish kind of light to the space that you're in. And as long as you can justify it, then I think that is the way to go, especially if you're making a Halloween movie, 100%, or a horror movie at night, things like that. But if you want to have more of a tungsten warm sort of appeal to the picture, I'm okay with that as long as it's justified. For me, I always talked about the Michael Myers bluish sort of light because I always saw it as part of his character in terms of what Dean Cundey was able to establish, and using that bluish hue, moonlight, essentially, as part of the ominous presentation of the shape. And when you get rid of that, you're removing an ingredient of the character. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean he cannot survive without it, but if you replace it with a warm tungsten sort of glow, I think, and we see him a lot, I think it diminishes who he is as the shape and as the character. That's how I feel about it. That's how I've always seen it. So in terms of the blue lighting here, I mean, there are some nice shots, some nice moments. And I would imagine that they justify it as moonlight. I think the moonlight is coming in through the windows. That's what I think they're justifying here. And it looks fine. Looks fine, yeah. Some people in the past thought that I think just a Halloween movie needs to be dripping in blue light. It's like, no. You use it at the appropriate times in the appropriate scenes. You can have dark, ominous scenes without blue light, right? There's just certain moments in certain scenes where I think it requires it and really enhances the shape of the character of Michael Myers. Like right here, for example, Michael it's a behind the scenes shot. Deckard and his friends are all trying, like, oh my God, try the window. There's not a lot of blue light here, right? But there's sort of a dark, ominous, creepy kind of, vibe because the windows are not open or broken enough where more moonlight could come in. So it's still dark, but there's not enough light to justify the type of blue light yet. It's cool too. It's just the natural whitish, bluish hue of nighttime, essentially, that you often get. And I thought the 2018 film didn't do that. Well, they didn't do that. It was more of an orangey feel, and I just wasn't feeling it. So here I'm at the scene. We're getting close to the end now. It's Sarah, right? I think that's the name of this character. Michael has entered the room looking for Sarah. Sarah's out onto the roof. He smashes his head out. Did you see that? He puts his head through the window and Sarah kicks him in the face and his head just goes like this, just snaps back like a rag doll. That was really funny, actually. Why would she still have like her camera on and shit? Like she's got the camera on and hooked and shit. Oh, I guess because she needs Deckard to... Yeah, okay. I guess that's right. He's too young for you. So I would say, yeah, the blue light it's fine. I don't know where I'd rank it. I mean, it's, it's fine. Yep. It's fine. Oh, she finds that the guy that was helping at the beginning of the movie, the tripod. Yeah, I just don't care about this movie. It's just a blah movie. It's a product of the time. I mean, it's just modern teen movie is what it is and stuff. That's what happens. Andrew Solid Steven says, now I gotta watch 1978 to justify myself for watching this damn movie. Pop it in! Pop it in, Andrew! Pop it in! Frank Riker says, anyone notice that the Halloween costumes are all characters from Dimension Films? I did not know that. I did not know that. That doesn't surprise me, though, because then that means they don't have to pay extra for the rights to be able to have certain costumes on screen. That makes sense. If that's true, that makes sense. Steve Down Under says, the only thing I like about this movie is that it's shot in the Myers house. The rest of it is cow dung. Yeah, not the real Myers house, but a recreation of it. Yeah, I always liked that too. I thought it's too bad the movie is garbage because you actually have the Myers house. It's like, wow, that's really cool. You know? Too bad the movie wasn't a better movie. That's why I think it should have been a girl that goes to Haddonfield because she doesn't believe that Laurie Strode committed suicide. She believes that Michael killed him or killed her, right? But people think that Myers was killed, you know, or aren't sure of it and all that kind of shit. Oh, here we go. Busta Rhymes fighting Michael Myers. Here it is, the moment you've all been waiting for. Busta Rhymes fighting Michael Myers. This is so fucked up. Here it is. This is great. Whoa, here it is. Here it is. You want to be on Dangertainment? You can see Michael's eye. Oh, no. No! Come on! Oh, man. Fuck. Like, what is this? Like, watching this happen is very... He's not the shape here. He's just a guy. He's just a guy in the house in a mask. You know, like... Like, are you kidding me? Here it comes. Trick or treat, motherfucker! And drop kicks him out the fucking window. Like, this should not be happening. This is not how you utilize the character of Michael Myers. Oh, God. It's so... Isn't it painful to watch? To watch Michael being handled in this way? And it's not that you can't have a fight with Michael. It's not that you can't struggle with him. It's all in the presentation and how you utilize those tiny nuances of his character. You can't lose who he is. You can't have some big doofus, you know, and drop kicking him through a window. It's like, that wouldn't, no. Michael would never put himself in that position to allow that event to transpire. He wouldn't do that. He would be more inconspicuous and anonymous and mysterious and, you know, just under the radar and things like that. He just wouldn't be like that. Fuck. The fuck is he? Fuck. Andrew Solid Steven says, this is the saddest moment ever. Michael versus Freddie. Yep, pretty bad. Frank Riker says, everybody was kung fu fighting. Yeah, why didn't they just have that song here? They might as well. You should have just killed Freddie right here. Like, killed him off, dead. You should have killed him when he was being reprimanded. That's when Freddie should have died. It's a fucking dog shit show of a movie. Like, I don't really care about this girl. I don't care about this girl because I've spent so much time with so many other characters that are just there. They're just expendable. So they're just there to be killed. That when it comes to this girl, I don't really care about her. I mean, I care about her a little bit, I guess, because it's very clear that the filmmakers were telling us that she is our main protagonist, but she doesn't stand out, you know, and, you know, I don't really care if she lives or dies at all. I just really don't care. Oh, Lordy. Yeah, what's with the rattlesnake shit? What the hell is with that shit? Where's the Halloween music? And I don't mean the theme. I just mean where's the music that makes you feel... Oh, fuck. Halloween is a movie, is a story and a character. Michael's a story and a character. There are so many facets, so many ingredients that have to be firing on all cylinders to make it feel and look like a Halloween film. And if you remove those ingredients, you can have the character of Michael Myers there, but it's not a Halloween movie. It's just a standard run-of-the-mill, one-dimensional slasher movie that happens to have Michael Myers in it. But who gives a fuck about that? Who cares about that? I don't. And that's what Halloween H2O and Halloween Resurrection is. Yes, even H2O. Yeah, I'm not a fan of H2O. Oh, the Jimmy move from Halloween 2 where she slips in the blood. Jimmy! There's Tyra Banks, dead. I wonder how she felt about her death scene being removed. Maybe she didn't mind it. Maybe she didn't care. There's that screen, there's a screen capture of Michael standing behind Tyra Banks. You probably know the one I'm talking about. I guess that was from the moment that she was killed, but we never got to see that. They axed it. So now Michael is breaking into the garage. We're coming to the end here. Yeah, and the way he shot, it's like they're using put the camera somewhere else. Put the camera lower. Make him appear ominous. Make him appear, scary. Stop shooting everything at eye level. Like everything is shot at eye level. Why? I know it's how we see things, but you don't have to do that. You shouldn't do that, actually. You should challenge us as a viewer and make us feel uncomfortable through the different angles you choose and how you want to project the character. There should be lower angles or behind certain things and shit like that. This whole scene here with this girl and the chainsaw and Michael and shit is all shot like... They're all medium shots. It's terrible. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Oh, the fire is beginning now. Tabitha Short says, you'll notice here coming up that when Busta Rhymes gets thrown against the wall that his hair is messed up and then fixed in the next scene. Oh, really? Well, thank you. I will take a look for that. Frank Riker says, thank you, everyone. From an hour and a half of my life, I'll never get back. I blame myself, too. Hey, you guys. But then again, you could blame me because I put it on the list. Chris Manley, 1994, says, can you guys believe this is the Halloween film that gave my little cousin nightmares? This one. Well, depending on how old your cousin was, I could believe that. I mean, if I was 5 watching this movie, or 6 or 7 or something. Oh, yeah, Michael sits up. And that's so, Michael sits up behind her and does the turn, but you lose the effect because you only see him from the waist up. So it just looks like this. Like, it looks like me right now going... Like there's nothing there. The whole idea of seeing Michael sit up and do the turn is seeing how stiff he is and how robotic and methodic it is. So you see his body and you see him sit up like this and do the head turn. That's why it's so important to be able to see everything, because it's the whole stiff robotic motion. If you're just seeing him do it from here up, it loses the effect. That was terrible. Terrible. And when Busta Rhymes breaks into the garage here, Michael stops and turns as if to go, what the fuck? I thought I killed you. Awful. I don't want to see him have any moment of realization. There is no moment. There's no rhyme or reason for what he does. There's no conscience, right? There's no, even the rudimentary understanding of life or death, good or evil, right or wrong. He should never have gone... and you can see it in his eyes because you can see his eyes because the glow of the fire is lighting everything up. We should never see that. And then Busta Rhymes here just electrocutes him and he backs into the wires and shit, and he becomes electrocuted and stuff, and just a lazy fucking, it's a terrible ending. Terrible fucking movie. You know, and you see a burn, motherfucker, burn. I don't know if he says burn, motherfucker, but. And he picks Sarah, right? Is her name? I think I've been calling her Sarah through the. Yeah. God, why that line? Why the crispy line? Oh. Or whatever he said there. I thought it was the crispy line, but whatever. And then there they are. There's the soundstage. You can totally tell it's a soundstage. That's funny. But in a good way. I mean, not in a bad way, in a good way. And this ending is terrible as well. I mean, and of course there's that, they shot a few different endings, and there's that one ending where the Busta Rhymes says something like, "You big ass," something like "big ass ball busting bitch." Thank God that didn't make it. Although why not? Like at this point, throw that in there. Something like that. "You big ass ball busting bitch" or something. Something like that. Yeah, her name is Sarah. Okay. All right, Deckard. Yeah, you saved her life. Yeah. Fuck off. All these kids think this Deckard guy's a piss-ass nerdy bitch. They wouldn't be hanging around with him. Darren Sands made it. Says, "Cheers, Frank. So I shouldn't play this back until the morning?" Yeah, probably not. I didn't go full on, though. I mean, I was, you know, I was answering questions and stuff, and, but yeah, this fucking thing is a shit show. This. Why don't you show some respect? He's a killer shark in baggy-ass overalls. So is this Freddie's moment of redemption? Now he's telling us the seriousness of the situation. Michael Myers is he's like a shark. Really? Because I didn't see none of that in this fucking movie. I didn't see shit in this fucking movie. Get the fuck out of here, Freddie. Busta Rhymes. Why was Busta Rhymes in this movie? Why? Why? This ending is terrible. Of course, it's better than him coming out of the sewer, but fuck, this is a terrible ending. Here we go. Here comes the ending, folks. All right. If you want to see it, okay. Here it comes. Oh, man. You're looking a little crispy over there, Mikey. Oh, God. Chicken fried, motherfucker. It's terrible. It's terrible. Why? You looking a little crispy like some chicken fried, motherfucker. Awful shit. Yeah. Chris Manley, 1994 says, because Mustafa Akkad asked his son, "Who do you like?" And he said Busta Rhymes. Is that true, or are you just kidding? If that's true, then Malik needs to be punched in the face. Andrew Solid Steven says, "Chicken fried, motherfucker." That's terrible. Get a copy of an autograph. And she unzips him, and that's a whole other movie right there. And she unzips him, and he opens his eye. Ooh, didn't see that coming. Why is he opening his eye? Well, what else are you going to do? Here it comes. What was that? What was that sound? When Michael opens his eyes. What was that? I mean, listen. You know, the sound designer would have needed to come up with some sort of sound that would have been like, ooh, you know, startling and oh my God. But why? Sounds like a sheep in heat or something, or a cow that's being molested or something. I don't know. I don't know what that sound was, but, or Michael, I mean, did she, as she was going to grab his mask, was she grabbing his testicles as well or something? And he's like, you will never be able to see that scene ever again. Think of it. When you watch that scene, when Michael opens his eyes, the reason why you hear is because the lady's grabbing his nuts. It's, whatever, right? I mean, she thought, why not? He's dead. I don't know. It's a whole other, that brings a whole other darkness to the end of that movie. Woo! All right. That was Halloween Resurrection. What do we got going on here? Darren Sand says, I had the privilege of a Bon Jovi tribute band this evening with my lovely wife. Dave, overrule the vote and do a Black Christmas watch party. I think I might have to. Christmas is coming up in a couple of months. I think I might have to. I'm totally down with that. Tab of the Short says, I love Bon Jovi. Steve Down Under says, ever wondered how they would have continued this storyline if they made a sequel to it? No. No, I loathed this movie so much. It's so, like I said, for all the reasons, it doesn't feel like Halloween, doesn't look like Halloween. It looks and feels more like Halloween than H2O, but that's such a low bar that you can just go like this and all of a sudden you feel it a bit more, right? But in terms of the gimmicky, shticky narrative and Michael and Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks and Dangertainment and webcams and Survivor, I didn't care anymore. I really didn't care. And I've never wondered, because it's not a story that I wanted to see continue. I hated it. I like, why would I want this to continue? I don't want this to continue. I don't want Busta Rhymes in the next movie. I didn't care enough about Sarah in the I don't want Deckard in the next movie. I don't care about that, right? I don't care. So no, I've never pontificated, never thought, wow, I wonder, never. But that's me. Tab of the Short says, why is JLC's haircut on the cover the same as in H2O? Shut up. I know. I don't know. The Big Ape says they were going to do a sequel, but it was canceled when Mustafa passed away. Yeah, what was I remember that was the story. Do we know what that was going to be about? Darren Sand says, late to the party, and this may have been mentioned, but the director of the movie is married to Nancy Stevens, just announced for H Kills. Yes, that is true. We did not talk about that. We did talk about Rick Rosenthal earlier in the film and how, of course, he was the director of Halloween 2 and how he is married to, although we did not talk about how the fact that he's married to Nancy Stevens. But that is true. Yes. Chris Manley 94 says, well, I'm out. Thanks for tonight, Dave. See you guys. See you a bit later. Don't forget, Monday night on episode 40 of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit, Tony and I are talking Scream, the Scream movie series, not the television series. I haven't seen any of the TV stuff. So we're talking the Scream movie series Monday night, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, right here, episode 40 of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. Andrew Stevens says, thank you, Dave. Really enjoy my time with you. Patreon members are awesome. They are. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much again for your continued support here on the channel. It does not go unnoticed or unappreciated at all. So that will do it for me. And I will hopefully see you guys on Monday night for episode 40 of Two Dudes and Some Feces. And I promise I'm going to have some more videos coming to my channel soon. It's just been really busy, and this week might be a bit busy for me too, but I'll try. I'm trying my best. It's just been a busy time. But yeah, that'll do it for me. And for those of you that are watching after the fact, after the live stream is done, I think you guys are awesome as well. And I will talk to you guys soon. Alrighty, I'm out. Peace.